Eve. Hey, what is going on, fight fans? You already know it's Tuesday. It's 10 p.m. The best show on the network is here. It's myself, Paul Spencer, and my main man, Joey the Hitman Woods. It's Fight Club 215. What is going on, Joey?
Nothing much. Doing good, doing good. Feels good to be back. Last week we had a little bit of a crazier show. Definitely a fun show, but it's the holiday season, it's all right to
Yeah,
go off track a little bit here, and
that's the thing. That's the
we'll
thing.
come back swinging. We're gonna go off track a little bit this week too. But we're gonna come back swinging come the first of the year. We're gonna have a little bit of fun these next couple of shows. 2 weeks we
Definitely.
won't have a show because me and Paul will be representing out of the box at the Flyers game, row one. So keep an eye out.
All
Close by
you
that
can eat.
glass
All you can eat.
and drink. Maybe not.
That's,
Maybe it's not so much for you because you're driving back to
yeah,
Johnstown that
I'm
night.
driving 4 hours back, Joey. So listen, whatever I can't consume, brother, it's all on you.
But it's all you can eat and drink. December
Definitely.
20th. We
They invited the wrong people for that, Joey. Let me tell you.
yeah, yeah. Like you said, we're looking at pictures for it, and it's all dudes in suits and stuff. And we're like, we ain't dressing in suits.
Hey,
We're gonna
this
be
this
like
is this is this is my business gear right here. Jeans and a hoodie for me.
the Beverly Hillbillies. Remember that? It's gonna be us that showing up
Yeah,
there.
they're gonna be like, who the hell let these hood
Yeah,
rats in?
yeah. Seriously.
But hey, you know what? Hey, out of the box is in the house, and we're happy to be there. Thank you, to Jason out there. I appreciate you, brother Jason Fine. Give him a call. 1-800-HURT-123. Great guy, great friend, great lawyer for all your personal injury needs. Give him a call. Tell him out of the box sent you because Jason, thank you, brother. We'll eat well for you, brother. You know, we might lose, but we're gonna eat well.
Don't gotta worry about eating well when it's talking about me and you, right?
Exactly. We go way back, Joey. Like, my God, Oh, look, good Lord.
I don't know about you, but back in those WSBC days when they let the coaches have their tab and you pay it off at the end of the season, I ran my dad's tab pretty high with that food.
The funny thing is, Joey, your dad did tell me about that. Like, he was like, God damn, between not really Chris, not really Sean, it's all Joey.
Yeah,
you know?
I be like the kids. Oh, you need a Gatorade? Put on my dad's tab.
But the funny thing is, mine got kind of big, Joey, because, Mary Ellen, she was always that one, the CCD type woman, that she was like, oh, you need something to drink? Go tell him, put it on Paul, put it on Paul,
Yeah,
put it on
yeah,
Paul.
that's what I was doing
And
with
I
my
go
dad.
like, wait a minute, how much does Shane eat? How much does Shane eat? Oh, it wasn't Shane, it was your wife. And I'm like, she don't even eat. What are you talking about?
Yeah,
Well, she got her 5 hot dogs here. And I'm like, then I go ask her. She's like, oh, well, he didn't have any money. I'm like, I ain't his daddy,
yeah.
Like,
Well,
come on now.
Wes, he didn't know his daddy.
Nobody knew their daddies at Whist, but hey, their dads had, all the dads had 2 names, Joe and Paul, put it that way.
Yeah,
And that was it,
seriously.
that was it. But hey, man, let's get into this, Joe. I know last week we went off topic. We had a great show. We talked about happy holidays, Christmas songs. We know we're damn hard Backstreet Boy fans. We already let that out of the box. So, but hey, listen, man, let's get into this. I mean, this UFC card, Joey, we're diehard fans here, but Joey, they might have to actually send me a check if I want to watch this, truthfully.
Yeah, and you can't totally blame them.
No, you can't. I mean, 2 canceled fights, Joey. I mean,
Two
2
canceled
big
fights
names.
of two big names. The
Mm-hmm.
the co-main event is now the main event. So Jan and
Yeah.
Abe were originally supposed to be the co-main event.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's the main event. So I
Yeah.
mean, the card would have been great had these not fallen through. Because it wrote itself. The co-main event, main event. The winner of
Mm-hmm.
the main event fought the co-main event. It
Exactly.
set itself up perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
now you're kind of left a little bit like question marks, because like we said, Glover's obviously next, but then it's like what's after? It's just a
Hmm.
lot of question marks at that point. So we'll see. But here's the thing: this main event, it's a good,
It is. It is.
it's a
We'll
good
definitely.
matchup. It's going to be interesting to see
Hmm.
who can impose their will in this fight. But we'll get to that. I'm looking forward to this Patty fight though too. I seen
Definitely.
someone tweet today. They were asking if Patty's on the path to become the new Red Panty Knight. Um, these these but here's the thing: he's he's not as good as a promoter as McGregor. I'm trying to think of how to word this. He's not as good as a
Yeah.
promoter as McGregor, but I think he's more likable.
Yeah, I can see that, Joey. I agree with you with the promoting side. I mean, there is no other Conor McGregor out there. I mean, his name, what he does, his side annex, what he does is just Conor McGregor. We know that. But I think he is on the right path. I mean, I think he's more likable in image wise because he
Yeah.
does not to characterize it, but he's out of the box, Joey. He's out of the box. He'll do whatever he wants to do. And I think that makes it to be like he's more likable to many,
And it
especially
seems
new.
genuine. It seems genuine.
Yes. Hmm.
We knew with McGregor that his his game plan leading up to the fight was be a complete dick,
Hmm.
get inside the opponent's head,
Hmm.
to throw them off, to make them fight an angry fight, to help
Exactly.
promote the fight. After the fight was over, he would show some humbleness, he would show
Hmm.
some respect. But those fights, those weeks leading up to the fights, he wasn't doing that. He was not humble. He said what he felt, and that was it. And like me personally, I loved it. I thought it was great because here's the thing: I'm a wrestling fan,
Hmm.
and I felt like it brought the wrestling world into the MMA world, and it was the perfect blend.
Right.
But Patty, he doesn't have to do that because he's such a likable guy. He's such a likable person across the board.
Hmm.
He still has that huge UK, Ireland, British, that huge following over there in Europe. He still has that huge European following. Came from Cage Warrior, just like
Hmm.
McGregor and stuff. I think Patty's a little more. I think McGregor is a better striker. But I think
Right.
Patty is better, well-rounded in terms of fight goes to the ground. He's able to still have a legitimate shot and stuff. Not saying McGregor didn't have any chance on the ground. I just think Patty is the more
Hmm.
well-rounded fighter overall. McGregor, like I said, light years better on the feet, but overall, I think Patty's better, well-rounded, which is saying something when McGregor was a two division champion at
Right.
one
Right.
time. I just think the UFC is doing right by this guy. They're building him up. They're promoting him. They're building him up as to a big name fighter, but they're
Hmm.
not they're not trying to skyrocket him to the moon super fast and kind of fizzle out like we've seen before. We've seen Sage a couple years ago where they had the 19-year-old kid who had the look. He had the karate background. He was the perfect
Hmm.
American boy, and they pushed him too much too fast, and the train fell off the tracks. Or you look at Paige Van Zandt, another one had the look, was the perfect American girl, but again, too much too fast, she fell off the tracks.
Hmm.
I think with Patty, they're doing it right. They're building him up. They're giving him next in line fights, and they're not trying to throw it all at once. But another thing that people it's not talking about, I think it's a big thing, is Barstool. Barstool is a huge
Hmm.
company, a huge name in the sports industry at this point,
Right.
and he's actually sponsored by Barstool. Barstool's at their
That's
fight.
that's insane. I mean, where he's at right now in his record and his career, and Barstool standing behind you. That's well spoken on his part right there.
Yeah, I mean they sell Patty the Batty hoodies. Like
Wow.
like he's got that backing, him and Molly, who unfortunately took a rough loss a couple weeks ago,
Hmm.
but they they're supporting them, so it's great to see. Seems like a good guy. Seems like a good person. I was watching TikTok the other day, and he was walking his dog, and the dog went to the bathroom on someone's lawn, but
Hmm.
it was too big for him to pick up. He didn't have enough bags to pick it up, so he actually knocked on the person's door. They had like a ring doorbell, and The guy was like,
Wow.
"Hey, do you have any paper towels? My dog just went on your lawn, and I don't have anything to pick it up with." And the lady was like, "I'm not." The lady was like, "I'm not home. I'll take care when I get home. I appreciate you knocking." He was like, "Are you sure?" And then she was like, "Wait, are you Patty the Batty?" And then he was like, "Yeah, yeah, I'm just trying to clean up after my dog." And she was like, "My friends are never gonna believe this. This is the coolest thing in the world." Like he just seemed like a
Wow.
genuine dude, you know. So
Wow,
it's
that's
good to
insane.
see.
First, number one, he's walking his dog. He's a person. You know what I mean? He's a real
Yeah,
person. Number one, like these some of these characters, Joey. They have all the money in the world. You got nannies, you got dog walkers, you got chefs, you got
yeah.
housekeepers, and that's like I said. The likable image of this guy is insane. I think they're going to back him 100%. But let me ask you: do you think they're moving too? I know you're agreeing with they're moving great the right way with them, the right path. But do you think that Dana White's saying, okay, well, you know what? We move Islam so fast, projecting him all the way up to the top in what 6 fights, Joey, basically to the top. Do you think that's what they're trying to do with Patty as well? Because the likable
They're trying
image.
to move him to the top. I think he's doing it the right way.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I agree. I think his image number one to me satisfied, especially the viewers that are finally checking into UFC. This dude's real. He's fighting for the right reasons.
Yeah.
And I think that likable image. I think they're definitely doing the right thing. Now with Gordon, what do you think, Joey? I mean, his last 2 fights were submission, and the TKO by Patty. But how do you think he pans up against Gordon?
Yeah, I think he's coming off a win and then
Hmm.
he lost the fight before that. I think it's gonna be a good fight. I'm trying to pull up the odds right now. In the recent days, Gordon's come out and said he sees quitting Patty. Same thing that the opponent before this has said about Patty, and look how that
Hmm.
turned out. Um, I just think it's like co-main event. If you think back to the
Well,
McGregor
Patty,
Patty,
Patty's a 250 favorite.
is he?
Yeah.
Here's the thing. I believe it was one 172, if I'm not mistaken.
Hmm.
Let me see. Now, which fight was it? 182 maybe?
That's going a while back, man.
Hold on. I'm trying to think back to when kind of like McGregor busted on the scenes. It's almost following the same
70s,
trajectory.
80s, 70s, 80s, early
Like
80s, mid 70s.
um hold on, I'm going back to McGregor's
I think it is. Yeah, late, early. Yeah, has to be.
one 178.
Okay, yeah, high
178.
80s.
I
Okay,
was
okay.
close. I was close. 178. Look at that card, right? McGregor
Hmm.
comes off. He has a huge fight in his home country in Dublin, right? Coming off a huge ACL injury, comes back. It's a TKO, right? That's on a fight night type card, right?
Right, right.
Then he comes back and he's the third fight, like almost the head co-main event, on a huge card that is headlined by Demetrius Johnson, who's arguably the GOAT
Hmm.
of the sport, and then a debuting Eddie Alvarez
Wow.
versus Donald Cerrone at the time, who are the two biggest names in the sport. And then you have Conor McGregor versus Dustin Poirier. Like
Mhm.
they were putting their eggs in this basket and saying, "We're ready for you to run.
Well,
Go."
let me ask you this: do you think that's what Dana White's doing now? Since
That it
we,
matches up
we
perfectly.
yeah, we
Matches
don't
up
know about
perfectly.
McGregor. We don't know about McGregor. The urine issue. We don't know about his tampering issue. Let's put it that way. What he's doing, how if he's going to get back into. We know he's
Oh,
juiced
he's
like crazy.
fine. He's fine. He can
He's
be
juiced.
he's who cares? He's allowed to be.
Oh my god, Joe! I think I'm going to start juicing myself up too. Then why not?
He's allowed to be, Paul. He broke his leg. Well, he didn't break his leg. He broke it in half. He broke his leg. He's been recovering. He's not currently have an active fight. You have to enter the pool 6 months before you can actively accept the fight.
Well, Joey, he's going to be on so much medication and all these juiced up medicines for 6 months. You're not going to be on it. That's what's going to tell me of how he's going to recoup that body from being in the Incredible Hulk down to,
Well, he
you
obviously
know,
has to come down if he wants to
of
be
course, right,
at any competitive weight. Because right now
right,
he's probably looking at
heavyweight.
probably looking at 185.
Hmm.
Let's be serious, and that's division where it's no go for him. So
Now, what is that? That's like light heavyweight, pretty much, isn't it? 185.
um, right before light heavyweight.
What is that?
Light
What that's going
heavyweight's
to be?
205. So that would
Okay.
be like um
Middleweight.
that'd be like Izzy. That'd
Okay.
be like
All right. Yeah.
Alex.
Gotcha. Wow. No. I mean, you know
Like,
what? The way he looks, though, my God, but that is totally different on your body as well. But
listen, McGregor doesn't have the stamina, but shit, this size McGregor right here fighting him. I mean, McGregor is gonna be like looking like a midget versus him, but
yeah.
for the 3 minutes that fight lasted, whoever gets knocked out would be a hell of a stand up battle, right? But
Hmm.
getting back to this fight, I think Patty shows everyone that he's more than just a comedy act, more than just someone who the fans like. I think he submits himself as a real prospect in this sport and of someone who is going to be here to stay.
I
Um,
agree.
he's such a likable dude. I think the UFC is really hoping that he is,
Hmm.
because you think about it, UFC is constantly trying to find that next European star. The
Yeah.
they had it in Bisbin, they thought they had it in Darren Till. Um, I just think they had it in McGregor. They always like to have that one European star.
Hmm.
And I'm probably forgetting some people. I
And
mean,
you know, while you're thinking of that, I think it's obviously the right decision because they're looking at the category of a Conor McGregor, and they're looking at Patty. They're somewhat relatable. You know what I mean? The star here, I think he's going to be, like I said, the word is relatable to me. They're trying to blow him up
yeah,
to promote him faster and faster because, just like you said, he is likable, Joey. He's a in wrestling, the term people's champ, The Rock. To me, he is the people's UFC
yeah.
fighter.
And here's another thing to all the true UFC fans and stuff. Most UFC fans just absolutely despise Jake Paul. For the mockery he's making of
Mhm.
it. This guy's standing up to Jake Paul. Jake Paul
Yeah,
called him
yeah,
out.
yeah.
Said, "I'll challenge you to a sparring match." Patty, the personality he is, said, "This idiot knows I have a fight in 2 weeks and can't spar him right now." He said, "But I'll fight on Saturday, win, rest on Sunday, and I'll be at your gym on Monday to knock you
Mm,
out." He said, "But
mm.
before I step foot in your ring," he said, "that $1 million that you promised me better be in an escrow because I don't trust you."
Wow, wow.
I'm like a businessman.
Yeah, exactly. Like, look, money up front. You want to step into, the ring, the octagon, whatever we want to call this. Put the
Yeah,
money up front, and I'll be at your gym. I'll fight tonight. I'll be, let me get a shower real quick. Let me get a couple hour nap, and then we can go at it. Not a big deal to
yeah,
me. What I mean, I love that. I love that from a kid, and that's something
yeah,
that, to me, like I said, he's a people's guy. He can relate to this, Joey. We're the average. We're the average overweight, food loving, sports talking guys, but this is something we can relate to. Like, wow, this guy is shit talking. He backs it in the ring. He's a business, protege.
Speaking of
And
overweight and food loving, that's him too.
exactly,
In
exactly.
between fights, he blows up, and
Yes.
he which if he wants to be serious, I mean it's worked for him this long, but if he
Hmm.
wants to be a serious contender, he's gonna have to start being a little
Yeah.
more serious about that also because
Right.
you
Right.
can't keep ballooning up and then bringing your body back down. You're just gonna deplete your body to the point where you have nothing left. So if
Exactly.
if he wants to be a legit serious contender in the UFC, I think he's gonna have
Hmm.
to fix that too a little bit. I'm not saying you can't enjoy life, but you're gonna have to stop. I mean, there was reports of I gotta look at the weight, but he was ballooning up.
Yeah, I seen a couple pictures. I'm like, my God, this dude can eat, man. If we could invite him to this game, Joey, Wells Fargo might go out of business that night.
Yeah,
Man,
like his weight gain was just.
it's insane, definitely. But speaking of Gordon, I mean, I think. What do you think with Patty? I'm not really too familiar with Gordon, honestly. What do you guys? What do you think?
I think Patty kind of cements himself
Hmm.
as a legit contender, like I said. I just read he balloons up. He fights at like 155, 145 most times.
Hmm.
UFC it's 155. Patty revealed that he can weigh as much as 205
Oh
in
my
between fights.
God! Wait, what was his weight, Joey? When he fights?
155.
We're talking 50-pound blow up, Joey, after a fight. 50-pound blow up. That's insane.
Wild. It's wild.
Man, that is insane to lose that. Like Joey, we've talked about this on every show pretty much. That cut, man, that does a body. That does a body in your mind, your liver. That plays craziness on you. And 50 pounds, and this guy can do it. God bless him, he
Yeah,
can do it. But if he, like you said, Joe, if he wants to take this serious, if he wins this fight, Joey, he's got to take this shit serious from now on. Now you've been on the map, but now you're a name that the UFC sees. You're co-main event here basically, and it's time that you are contention to get a title shot coming quick with this. It's time to
yeah.
get serious. It definitely is.
Here's a crazy idea. I mean, I don't think the UFC would do it because it kind of bites your own hand at this point. But
Hmm.
put Usman and Edwards as the co-main event in a soccer
No,
arena.
no, no,
Listen,
no.
listen. You put Usman and Edwards as a co-main event in a soccer arena in the UK somewhere. The main event is Paddy versus McGregor. That
Oh, okay.
sells
I didn't know you were going to say McGregor, Joey. I didn't know you were going to say McGregor. Okay,
that
okay.
sells the most fights maybe ever in the history of the
Holy
UFC.
crap! Holy crap!
That breaks every record possible.
Paddy McGregor, Usman Edwards,
That
the
breaks every
trilogy,
record.
the trilogy versus the Battle of the Lands or the countries. Wow.
That
Yeah,
that
that's something I could definitely say. Yeah, Joey, I agree that would be the main event, but that'll never happen. That Usman, Edwards fight is going to be the top of the line
well,
fight. But wow,
obviously that's not going to happen. But this fight, I mean, as of 6 days ago, Paddy said Conor McGregor fight will be the biggest in UFC history. He said it'll be the highest selling fight. He said me versus McGregor will be the biggest pay per view the UFC has ever seen.
I don't know, Joey. I mean, I don't know. Honestly, I like the name. The highlight reel, the name and lights on that, but man, he's got to do a little bit more for me right now, Joey. He's got to boost his name a little bit higher to me to get a Conor McGregor. But are you talking Conor McGregor's first fight back?
Why not? Honestly,
Wow,
Paul,
wow,
with that
wow,
injury, how
wow.
many fights back? How many fights does he truly have in him left?
Yeah, I understand that, but man, do you think that's a slap in the face to Edwards and Usman?
It definitely is, but again, I think we talked about it 1,000 times.
It's about
Um,
ratings.
the UFC is a business. It's a
True,
business.
true.
Your feelings, your beef is they would never do it to them too because they deserve the main event. But
Hmm.
again, it's a business, and if you're trying to make the biggest, another reason why you wouldn't do it is because you're killing two pay per views. Because
True, true.
you could have two set pay per views of those two fights, and they both sell hugely.
Hmm.
Um, I'm just talking about the biggest pay per view possible, maybe ever.
It could be. It definitely could be.
That does it. And where are we at right now? This is 280,
282.
282.
Hmm. All right, so now Conor McGregor, he's not in the 6 month category yet, right? As we stand, am I right or wrong?
Correct.
All right, so
Correct.
let's
He
let's
hasn't
give it,
been
let's give him
competing.
January. Let's give him January. He enters. Okay, so we're talking 6 months prior to that. We're looking at a July, Joey. So that's 7 plus 1. That's 8. We're looking at least 290, 291 for anything to happen with him.
So we're looking here. Here's what I'm looking at here. Um, so you're saying every month is a pay per view, right?
Hmm.
So June's 83. I'm just trying to do the math.
No, not June 83.
January
Hmm.
83, 84, 85, 86, 87.
I'm thinking like 88 to 89 to 90 is pretty much going to be where he's going to make his appearance.
Okay, so just say McGregor comes back, like you
Hmm.
said, like around June, July, right? Um, he wins. Patty maybe wins two more fights, right?
Okay, okay.
Next June, which would be next June or July, depending if UFC takes a break or 1 month or not.
Hmm.
UFC it would be UFC 300.
Okay, all right. So 300 would be we're
He has
looking at we're
the
looking at
biggest.
2023. We're looking at 2024 then, Joey.
Yes, you have to put the
That's
biggest card
that's
possible.
that's asking a lot of Patty to go undefeated in the next two or three fights, Joey. You know what I mean?
But realistically, it's two. It's two. If so, if that's going to be the main, I'm not saying it again. This is all hypothetical. If that's your main event, that and it's 300, you're the UFC 200 was such a shit show
Yeah,
with how
yeah.
stuff broke down and the Brock Lesnar ordeal and the everything like that. If I'm the UFC, I'm looking ahead and I'm like, okay, 300's got to be bigger. 300's got to be the best possible because 200 was so shitty.
Hmm.
Um, that I would say um, you gotta plan a little bit in advance. So realistically, he wins this fight, right?
Hmm.
Just say he wins this fight. Now, if he loses this fight, everything is wrenching it. Forget what we're saying.
I think
He
any
wins.
loss. I think any loss, Joey, would knock that little
Yeah, yeah,
category
yeah,
out of there. Of
definitely,
course.
definitely. But if he wins this fight, right? Just say it's a grueling fight. At the minimum, you get a 6 month suspension by the commission because that's
Hmm.
usually what they do. That puts you out January, February, March, April, May. The earliest you could fight is June, right?
Hmm.
So just say he's scheduled a fight for July of
Okay,
this
but
year.
let's talk about Patty. He fights, this 282. Okay, fighters do usually do 2 to 3 fights a year, but depending on how this fight goes, so you might look at a 3 to 4 month layover for Patty. That puts him in
Well, I'm talking about Patty.
280.
I'm talking about Patty. If this is a grueling fight, typically a fight where there's strikes absorbed and some good shots are taken, it's a 90 to 6 month layoff. You have to
Hmm.
be no contact in the gym with um sometimes. So
Right.
just say July is his next fight. That's July of 2023. If he wins that, that gives the UFC a year to promote
But
this.
you're still putting Edwards and Usman on this card, right?
No, I'm just saying
Okay, because I was
300.
going to say that's not going to happen. They're not going to wait 1 year for that Usman Edwards fight. We
No,
know
no,
that
that's happening from last I heard. Um,
in
I think
February, isn't it?
March. March.
Okay,
I
I thought
think.
okay.
Yeah, I mean, last I heard, they're trying to do Wembley.
Wow, wow,
It would be huge,
wow.
but we'll see.
Yeah, that would be huge. But I would love to see that. I mean, I do agree with you. That would probably be one of the most speculated pay per views ever. You got Batty versus McGregor, then you got Usman and Edwards on that. But going to like UFC 300, Joey, man, I'm not the biggest wrestling fan out there, but I love how AEW does these huge, huge ass, pay per views, and everything is on the line. I wish the UFC would do that. I would love to see 3 to 4 title matches in one pay per view. A New Year's Eve bash or something like that when it comes up
Yeah,
to 100 or whatever it may fall on. But man, that would be insane. That's the time. Even if McGregor is not the headliner, that is the time. With his name, would sell the entire card like it would blow up so big. You know,
yeah, yeah. It's
man.
it's it's been a while since anything's talked about, so I don't know. Um,
Yeah, I thought I read. I think it was like February. Yeah, right in February's
February,
time.
March. Yeah,
Yeah,
I think because the weather's a little different over there. You
yeah.
have to make sure the weather's.
Speaking of
Uh,
overseas fights, we'll talk about the Tyson Fury fight. Did you see? We'll talk about that one, Joey. But my God, I was getting chills watching that fight. How cold it was.
yeah,
38-degree weather outside. In between rounds, they got a damn blanket on top of them. You know what I mean? It's insane.
yeah,
But let's get back in this fight real quick, Joey. Who do you have real quick? I think Patty's going to submit him. I really do.
yeah. I agree.
I agree. You think it's early? 3 round fight?
Second round.
Second round? Okay, I agree. I think it's going to be a second round. I think the first round's going to be a little bit of feeling out. I think Patty's going to come out and just go balls to the wall. I think he's going to try to showcase what he does, but I think it's going to be a second round submission. I really do. I think it's going to go there.
Yeah, I
Definitely.
agree.
All right, so we got that. We're agreeing on that one. Now let's get to the main event here. Abe Lincoln, man. Where you going? Where you going, Joey?
um, this one's hard. This one's hard because
It actually is.
I think John has a little bit better on the feet,
Hmm.
but that's not taking anything from Abe because I think Abe is great on the feet also. But I think his wrestling helps secure this fight.
I agree. I think it's from what we've seen in the past. I know his name's not Abe. I just don't want to ankle whatever his name is. I can't pronounce it, but I think for what we've seen of him, Joey, and what he's done his last matches, he's legit, man. And I think he's just going to turn it. I think it's going to go. What do you think it's going to go knockout? What do you think? A lot of people say this is going to go the distance.
I don't see it going a distance.
I don't either.
The way these two guys fight,
Mm-hmm.
I don't see it going a distance. Talking about a guy who's 18-1, like this dude's
Yeah.
legit.
Yeah.
I think Abe wins this.
I do too. I don't think it goes past the third round. I really don't. I mean, to me, it's more of I'm going to lean to Abe's side, but to me, this is one, Joey, where I can flip a coin, man. It's heads or tails on this, but I don't think it goes past 3 rounds on whose side, but I'm going to go with Abe on this one. I really am. I have to.
I agree. I just think overall he's just too much.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I think it's going to be a war. A lot of people. 29-9, Joe, and 18-1. You know what I mean? You look at these records, and it's. I think it's going to be a slugfest. Honestly, I think it's going to be because we know Abe's speed too. He has speed. So I don't know. I think it's going to be second round. I'm still going to stay with my instincts and go. I'm going to go third round, and I'm going to have to go Abe here with the TKO. I think it's going to be a stoppage. I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
So did you see the odds on this? What do you think the odds are? What do you think the odds are with this one here? I'll look it up right now as we speak. I know Abe's the favorite. I know that definitely, but
I think he's probably like a minus, like maybe like 200 maybe.
Wow,
I can't look it up.
280. Minus 280.
That's a lot.
That is a lot. I thought it was going to be like closer to a pick 'em, maybe like a 160, 180 category, top 200, but that's 280, man. And this is early still, too. I don't know how the line's going to progress, but 280, man, that's kind of a wow. Yeah. Patty's being a 250. This card here, if you're a betting man, you can't make money on the favorites, Joe. You really can't.
You really can't.
Unless you take,
John,
but
the overlooked thing is because he's pretty good. Better than some of the other Russian fighters that we've seen. He's maybe one of the more well-rounded stands out of the Russian, but that's Sambo, like we say.
Yes.
Time. That Sambo from these times too hard. It's too much for them to a game. Are you calling somebody?
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's too much for them to. It's too
much.
Yeah,
I'm calling Abe. I'm calling Abe right now. I'm calling Abe right now to see if I can get the in-house.
Yeah. But it's like you can train. You can train for this. You can train for wrestling and stuff like that. But it's not the same. Your wrestling is not Sambo wrestling. It's just a totally different ball game. And so unless you have Russian, these guys over there that are able to come into your gym and help you, no matter how much you're training wrestling, it's just a different ball game.
It is, and that's one of the advantages that the Sambo has. You know what I mean? It's you can watch a game film, but if you don't have this type of fighter in your dojo or gym, it's very hard to prepare for. And that gives them 100% advantages. It really does.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, you know what? That's the UFC talk. Sure. This card is. What do you grade this card, Joey? The 2 great fights we lost already. Lawler, of course, we lost that fight. I would
say originally, I would say. I think there's a little bit of a lag here. I'm sorry.
No problem. Yeah, you're lagging a little bit. It's all good.
I'm going to refresh real fast.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah, but looking at this category, Joey refreshes real quick. We lost 2 fights on this UFC card. This was a good card overall. You lost Robbie Lawler. You lost Glover Teixeira versus Prochazka, which is a very top-of-the-line fight as well. But, you think about those 2 fights, losing Lawler and Jiri Prochazka as well versus Glover Teixeira. But it was a good card in the beginning, but losing those 2 fights to me, I think the only thing that sells this fight to me is, the name of Batty. That's pretty much what sells this card for me, honestly.
Yeah, I would say originally this was probably maybe a 7 out of 10 in terms of cards. Now I would say maybe it's a 5. again
Yeah, I
because
agree.
you still have the light heavyweights with
Hmm.
two explosive dudes who can go off at any time.
Sure,
So
sure.
that alone makes you want to tune in, and then of course this could be the rise of Patty here.
Right, right.
In terms
Hmm.
of co-main eventing a fight, pay
Hmm.
per view. It's like his first real shot to show the national world what he's all about. He's been on other big fights before, but never a co-main event like this. So it's definitely
Hmm.
um,
Well,
his
I tell you
biggest.
what, Joey. After the first two, the fights got canceled, I was looking at. I haven't looked at it in a couple of days. The card. Of course, we know what the card was, but I got kind of happy when I looked at it. Earlier today, and I'm like, wait a minute. Moreno's fighting. I thought it was fighting Figueroa. I'm like, wait, they moved it up. Then I was like, oh, that's Alex Morano. Okay, never mind. He was already on the card.
No,
So I'm like, damn. Like, oh, I got my hopes up. Like, okay, they moved it up
yeah,
here.
that's now that's a fight
That's a
that
fight. That is a fight, Joey. Oh man.
that's
Woo!
that fight here. Tell me about this, Paul. Whenever you saw two Mexican boxers fighting each other,
Yes. Yes.
regardless of the name, you knew it was going to
Hmm.
be an all-out war when
Hmm.
those two fought each other. That's what
Yeah.
these UFC fights between these two guys
Hmm. They've
remind me
all
of.
been.
Is
They've all been.
like just all-out scraps, just
Hmm.
bang out wars.
Yep. And you know what the funny thing is? There's respect there, Joey. You know what I mean? Like with these two fighters, I can't wait for this card because just like you said, when these two get together, it's sparks, it's highlight films, and to me, it's probably going to be a card that as soon as I'm already jonesing for this card, Joey. Honestly, even though we have 282 coming up, really am
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah, and this is Patty's first pay-per-view,
Yeah,
regardless
you're
of
right,
co-main event or not. It's his first pay-per-view that he's been on in the UFC.
and that plays with your head a little bit. I think he's a sensation, so that's not gonna determine anything for him because he's already in the spotlight, Joey. You know what I mean? He has viewers, he has followers, and he's the
Yeah,
face. He's the people's UFC fighter. So I think
yeah,
he's going to carry it on his back, and I think this is it right here. This is his. I don't want to say it's his contract, Joey, but in a way it is. This could pinpoint him or boost him into Conor McGregor's statutory. Basically that category. I want to say. You know what I
yeah.
mean? And a loss
And
could
here's the
take
thing:
him down.
McGregor had a little
Down.
bit of a roar. Oh,
What?
no, McGregor had a little bit of a roar. Something wrong with
Oh
my
man,
camera.
I thought you said we got a fight coming up. Like we got a new fight coming up. They added something to the card here. That's what I'm thinking, Joey. Man, okay.
Damn, Philly just got a good pitcher.
Who? The
Walker
Walker
from the
guy?
Mets.
Oh yeah, I know. 4 years or something like that. I heard. Yeah,
Yeah, that's a good deal.
that's not a good deal. He sucks. He sucks, Pat. He sucks, Joey. He sucks.
Eh,
He's gonna lose your games. He's gonna lose your games, Joey.
eh.
But hey, listen, Joey. Let's talk. Let's move directions here, man.
He's
Let's move.
not be the best.
What's
Paul, he may
that?
not be the best pitcher, but he may not be the best pitcher, but he's definitely better than Kyle Gibson. We can agree on that at least. Agree to
Yeah, we'll agree
disagree,
on that.
but Kyle Gibson was absolutely trash,
Yeah,
and Walker is definitely better than.
I agree with that one. I agree with that one. Yeah,
I don't know
and you're
why I'm
lagging a
lagging
little.
so bad. I apologize.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I think it's us thinking about the food we're going to eat. They're trying to chime us out already, so we can't stop thinking about this food on the 20th, Joey. But hey, let's move into this, Joey. Listen, there was a fight this weekend. Past weekend. Tyson Fury. Before Joey refreshes, Tyson Fury actually faced Derek Chiroza. I mean, this fight here was overseas, and this is something I've never seen in my life as a boxing fan, where I've never seen. I've seen outdoor fights before, but this fight to me, I've never seen one fighter in my life or any fighters between rounds actually have to get a thermal blanket and put it on top of them. That's something I've never seen in my life. Joey, I was just saying this fight here, it's overseas, it was outside, and I've never seen a fight in my life where between rounds, your coach, your cut man, your trainer had to get a thermal blanket and put it on top of you in
Yeah,
between rounds.
that was like, what do you think? That was
That's
nuts to me.
Joey, I was looking at Fury, because he's a overseas fighter, so he's white as a ghost over there. And Chisora did hit him a couple of times, not much. I mean, it was a one-sided fight, but you could clearly see the marks on Tyson Fury's chest where he got into, and it was like you're Casper the Ghost, and even if I touched you, you became purple. That's what it looked like. This fight over there, Joey. I just don't
Yeah,
agree. I don't understand it. I don't understand why they
take the
did.
fight. I'm worried about the fight, but across the board, um, like I don't know, that whole thing just like made me change my perception of Fury a little bit. Um, one, like
Really?
here for two reasons. One, um, that fight should have never happened.
True.
You should have been fighting Uzlik. That
Mm-hmm.
fight should never happen. And two, everything I've seen of him, Uzlik is the nicest man in the world. He literally seems like the most genuine human being in the world. Like
Mm-hmm.
he's friggin' Ukraine. I'm not gonna say what he's doing because I don't want to get banned by
Mm-hmm.
Facebook, but he just is like a overall great human, and the way that Fury treated him after that fight, it just kind of
Yeah.
it pissed me off a little bit. You know, it like they're like that fight sells itself regardless of what you two say to each other. It's
Mm-hmm.
the only two heavyweight champions in the world fighting each other to unify all the belts. Like that fight sells itself regardless of what you say to each other. So
Mm-hmm.
stop that nonsense and and just go because it was just weird to me. Like it came off almost as like cringeworthy, you know, like
Yeah.
in Fury's not like that, you know. Fury always seems so genuine that this to me just seems so staged on Fury's behalf.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that like and who was that other guy that came up and said, "Oh, I want some too." Who was that dude?
I don't remember that. I didn't. I turned it off, Joey, because I got kind of just like you said. I'll piggyback on what you said. I got frustrated because the fact that okay, you fought Chisora. You're like a plus 700 favorite. We know that was going to win. Knockout, the stoppage. It should have been stopped earlier. Now I don't want to say it was stopped earlier. It could have gone on, but that's a different day. But after the fact, where just like you said, Usyk is the nicest guy, man. Fury was in his face talking all this shit. And any other fighter, Joey, man, I don't care who you are, you would have pushed back right then and there, on Fury
Yeah,
right there. And to me, he was just like, okay, you know what, you can talk all your shit you want because
yeah.
when this is signed, I'm going to lay you out. But he didn't even say nothing like that, Joey. He's humble. He's humble. And you know what, I love Fury, but you're right. I did lose a lot of respect for him because to me, he showcased himself with his trash talking after. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and here's another thing. Like he does that, right? And
Mm-hmm.
then and then 5 minutes later I see a TikTok and he's in the locker room with the guy he just fought
Yes, having
and
having having pizza or whatever, a hamburger,
hugging him and
cheeseburger,
stuff, meeting his daughter, giving his daughter a kiss and stuff like
and they were eating
I'm
cheeseburgers, Joey. They were eating
yeah,
cheeseburgers.
it's just I'm just like is do we all just get like got for money? Like do we
That's what
all
I'm
just
saying.
get
Yeah, I
got?
seen that, Joey. I'm like, okay, you know what? I know they have beef between them. But when I seen that video you're
Oh
talking about, I'm like,
shit.
what?
They got another player. They feel like another closer now.
Who cares about the damn Phillies, Joey? We'll talk about that next year. We'll talk about that next year. Shut up, Joey. Okay, shut up. Shut up. Shut up. Anyway, Joey, let's get back to this, man. Shut up. Shut up, Joey. Shut up. Anyway.
Yeah, I think we need to move on.
Yeah, I think we do, don't we, Joey? Like, what?
Introduce people to
Yeah, what is that next topic, Joey?
our next topic here because
Fight time is debate time.
well so we're in the new year like
Hmm.
we said, new year we're gonna hit the ground running. We're gonna
Hmm.
new things coming, new times, new everything is
Hmm.
gonna we're gonna really hit the ground running like we said. But we're gonna do a debate show because Paul's a Cowboys fan, I'm an Eagles fan. Paul's Paul's a Braves fan. I'm a
Hmm.
Phillies fan. Um
Mm.
So we're gonna have a debate show covering all things sports, hot topics in the world of sports. Um, and we want to preview that a little bit right now with this show. We were supposed to have someone else jump on. Were you able to get him
He
on?
might be hopping on a little bit. He's seen the invite. He might be hopping on a little bit, but
Okay,
we'll carry it on here. I mean, I think this is
okay.
must see TV between you and I, Joey. But before as you
Yeah, I mean
said,
our group chat. We have so for everyone that doesn't know, we have a out of the box group chat, and constantly guys are questioning like
do we hate
is
each
this
other?
do we hate each other? Because me and Paul go at it a lot. Because here's the thing, and for people who don't know, um, Paul loves to stir that pot. Sometimes he loves to stir that pot. He'll be like, he'll be like, oh, I don't care. I don't. He's one of the more truest Cowboys fans, but he's still a Cowboys fan. So he's the type of guy who will be like, "Oh, it's 25 years ago, it doesn't mean anything," but then I'll send a picture of the Cowboys with all their trophies, and then a picture of the Eagles with their trophy, and say, "Just a reminder." So you can't have it both ways here, Paul. You can't say those trophies in the past don't mean anything, and then drop those little
Well,
jabs in the group
well,
chat.
real quick, let me have the floor and rebut that one, Joey. Now, you just like you said, I am one of the realest Cowboy fans. I keep it real. Those the 25 years, and it's been 26 years, Joey. But no, who's counting that bullshit anyway? But you know, but you know what? You're right. 26 years, we had the five trophies, but when I talk to true fans, Joey, I don't bring that up. But to my point, the reason why I put the five trophies in a post on our network. So if you haven't checked it out, please subscribe to Out of the Box on Facebook,
Yeah,
Twitter,
exactly. Because you
YouTube,
can.
of course.
So if
You'll,
we
then
do
you'll
start our new show,
right. Then
you'll
you'll
be able
see
to
the
get a
beef.
notification.
Right. Then you'll see the beef between Joey and I because we go at it even on the group post on Facebook. He's chiming in, I'm chiming in. Everybody thinks we hate each other, but Joey, I love stirring the pot a little bit, like you said, because I love seeing the Eagles fans get riled up just like you are right now. I love seeing it, Joey.
Hey, I'm not riled up. I'm sitting at 11-1, man. I'm sitting at 11-1.
Oh, okay, okay.
Running present year,
Mm,
2022. I'm sitting
mm,
at 11-1, number one seed. Forget
mm,
the NFC, the number one seed in the NFL right now. With
mm,
and here's one thing, Paul. Tell me how you feel about this before we start our little debate here. Um, all these Eagles fans are like chomping at the bits. Jalen Hurts is the MVP. Jalen Hurts the MVP. I'm
mm.
sitting here telling these fans like, you freaking dumbasses. Let Patty Mahomes win that MVP. Let who else is even? Let Josh Allen win the MVP. You know the last time someone's won a Super Bowl and MVP? 1998. Kurt
Oh,
Warner.
okay, Joey. Let me rebut you right there. So number one, you don't have faith in Jalen. I know you have faith in him, but you don't have faith for him to win the MVP and go out and win a Super Bowl. Is that what you're saying? You're talking like a Cowboy fan, okay?
No.
Oh,
Not that I don't have
uh,
faith, but I believe in curses. I believe in jinxes. I
so
believe
you're
that
a firm believer of the Madden curse. You're a firm believer of the Madden curse.
you're not.
Okay, I am.
Yeah. I believe in sports jinxes. I truly believe that there are these sports jinxes, and it's not a
Oh my
coincidence, Paul,
God.
where I don't know if it's maybe they take their foot off the pedal after they win the MVP or what it is, but I mean, we're talking what at this point 24 years that an MVP hasn't because to be MVP your team has to be in the
When
playoffs.
was the last one? When was the last one, Joey?
98 Kurt Warner.
Wow. Wow.
I believe so. Let me make sure of that.
Wow. Well, listen, real quick, before we get into this debate here, but real quick before we bring our guest in here, just like Joey said on Out of the Box here, starting January, this is why you need to subscribe to the YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Twitter page because we are going to be hitting the ground running in July. I'm sorry, January.
January.
We have some great shows coming in here. I mean, there's going to be two shows with myself and Joey debating every topic, and it could be anything. The only thing we pretty much agree on is we love food, we love free tickets, and
Love the Backstreet Boys.
we love the back. Joey, I don't think we want to say that, but damn right, Joey, we agree
And
on
we
that.
also love honey
Notre
mustard.
honey mustard, and speaking of honey mustard, we'll be talking about that in a couple of minutes, probably. Anyway, what condiments you usually use or not, but we're Notre Dame fans. We agree on that. But this is a show where if you tune in to watch this show, it's Joey and I debating. We're the best of friends. I've known Joey almost more than half of his life. Coached him
Yeah.
in football, like one of my kids, basically. Know his parents, all through in and out, all his kids, all his brothers, sisters. But tune into the show. But real quick, Joey, I think I'm going to win this debate here. So
What
I
sport are
think I
you
had
watching?
what?
Yeah, UFC file behind you. Got my ADHD
Uh,
kicking there for a second, Paul. I
I know
apologize.
probably it's Shabenko versus Santos. I don't even know what
Oh,
UFC is. Yeah,
that's the
UFC
one that had us
fighter.
sweating there for a second, Paul. Remember we bet on?
Yes, you're right. You're right.
I had us
But
sweating it out.
yeah, but Joe, speaking of new shows coming on, later on in the season, we're just going to let the cat out of the bag here. I've known you, I've had the privilege of coaching you, many of years, and even your brother Chris as well. Didn't get the privilege of coaching Sean, but I'm going to bring in another guy who basically started me, with the passion to do a podcast. I hopped on his very first show years ago in studio. My first one, I was kind of nervous, but I ran with it and kept it going. but I want to pay homage to this person coming in. A lot of people know we hate each other, but we love each other. He's my third son, basically. So I want to put that out there. I'm putting out my hand real quick because we have a beat between me and him. But he's not my biological son, but blood is thicker than water, and that's the way I feel about everything with him. Just like with you, you know that. So I'm going to bring him in because this guy right here is like my third son. Speaking of food eating, this guy loves to eat. He could probably eat us out of house and home, which he already did. That's why I moved 4 hours away. But I'm going to bring him on real quick. He is with Devereaux Sports and EOP. He is called Pat Ambler. I'm sorry, Pat Bernard. Pat from Ambler. Pat the Gobbler, the CEO. Here he is. Pat Bernard, what is going on, man?
What's going on, Jones? What's going on? Listen,
Pat, you got a little food on your lips there, brother? Were you eating? I'm just joking. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Pat, before we start, you have to be happy with the past hour with these Phillies. You see the deals?
No, I'm not.
We got. You're
No, I'm
not.
No.
Oh, see, Pat's on my side. One up on Paul's side already. Look at that.
Why are you not happy with these deals?
Well, because the house deal they just signed. You mean you're talking about a pitcher that we mowed down every time we faced them? No.
A pitcher who had a sub. I think it was 3.5 ERA, which for a fourth starter is pretty respectable.
We had better luck with a bullpen game than we've had with this guy coming on the team. Okay, you want to try and go tick for tat with Verlander? Okay, you've answered back with with Trey Turner. All right,
with Trey Turner, with Walker, now with Starum from Boston for our bullpen. They're going all for it.
Yeah, well,
I'm going to tell you guys right now, just be happy you guys are signing players, okay? We're not signing a damn thing down
you
the
don't
top
really need anyone, Paul.
Shut up. We don't need anything.
No, seriously, I'm gonna give the Braves all credit here, and I don't normally do this for in-division rivals, but the Braves GM did it right. He's built up his
farm squad, right? We know
his farm system. He's got players now on his team that he's built up from his farm. And before they got to that point where they needed that major $300+ million deal, he signed them for $100 million.
Locks them up. He locks them up.
Fraction of the rate that they should. Like if Austin Riley got on the open market, he's dwarfing Trey Turner's deal. He's making Trey Turner's deal look like peanuts, and he just signed them for under $200 million.
Right, I know he's locking them up early. I understand that, Joey. But when your team, your wild card team, makes a run, gets to the postseason, and gets to the World Series, shocks the entire division, of course, and they make moves like this, well, it's time to make a couple moves, Joey. I know you're still legitimately, in the conference.
Mind you, having parades at Frankfurt and Cottman, just getting to second place. Never saw that before. Yippee.
I know we're going to get into our debate real quick, Joey, but real quick, Pat brings up a good point. Pat and I actually talked about this. So real quick, but if you're out there listening, from any other network, you know what? The beef is squashed. I'm going to tell you right now. There never was a beef because these two gentlemen on the screen here, I've known them for half my damn life. If they call me for anything, I'm driving 4 hours to the house, no matter what. So put that squash away. This is friendly debate. Have fun with it because we're opening up in January, new shows, new everything pretty much. Out of the box is getting outside the box revamped 100%. 100%. So Pat brought up a subject, Joey. Now, okay. Joey, you won a playoff game, Joey. Why are you down in Frankfurt and Cottman, Joey? One playoff game. Why are you there?
What are you talking about?
If Phillies won a playoff game last year, why is everybody down at Frankfurt and Cottman celebrating, Joey? What did you win?
They're at Frankfurt and Cottman they won the NL pennant. That's the thing.
That's a participation trophy, Joey.
It's a trophy more than the Braves got. The NL pennant is something that you can hang your hat on, Paul. The NL pennant is the reason.
Whoa! I can still hang my hat on that 2021 World Series trophy right there, Joey.
Okay, and we can hang our hats. It's a little bit farther away, but talking about in the past, we've had 2008. Everything's in the past at this point. This season here, the Phillies won the NL pennant, beating the Braves on the path to that pennant. And here's the thing. That is not just a participation trophy. That is the reason that Trey Turner left $41 million on the table to pass over the San Diego Padres to come to the Phillies because he sees what they're building here. He sees that they are a championship team. and he left $40 million on the table. More money than all three of us combined will ever see in our lifetime. He just left on the table
Okay.
to come to the Phillies over San Diego, a team that we
But
beat to get to that participation trophy.
All right, then you know what? If Trey Turner, if you're listening out there, hey, listen, I'll be down December 20th. I'll meet you at Frankfurt and Common. I'll buy you a cheesesteak, brother. Okay.
Listen,
no,
he's going to buy you a whole restaurant at that point.
Hey, that's fine with me. I love to eat. I love to eat. Invite me. Hell,
listen, but in like you said, you gotta look at though. We're talking about this past year. We only won the NL East, and I've seen guys go down and party like we won the World Series. You just got to the dance. You didn't win the dance. You just got there. What's the celebration for? I'm sorry, but the only times I ever saw a celebration down Frankfurt Commons when you won the whole thing, not second place.
No, you get a celebration when they get to the dance, and then obviously the celebration is much bigger if they win it. But but
When I never saw
but
that at
being a
Frankfurt
team,
Commons.
Pat, that that fired their coach in June, was 9 games under
Right.
500, was
And
look at
I
that.
said,
their MVP broke his wrist or hand and was dead to the water. Everyone wrote them off. Then you
mhm.
have Schwarber, who put this team on his back and
Ho
went on an
ho ho
absolute
ho ho
tear.
ho 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 ho. Just like I've told my man Adam, and if my man Adam is watching the show, ho ho, pump the brakes. You said Kyle Schwarber.
When Bryce went down,
Mm-hmm.
that month after Bryce went down,
Mm-hmm.
Schwarber kept the Phillies afloat.
No. You
You're
got the wrong.
crazy.
You
You're
got the wrong guy.
crazy.
Alec Bohm was your
You're
guy. Okay.
crazy. I
Alec,
think
how?
Schwarber hit. I think there was a game where Schwarber hit a home run in like almost 9 straight games.
Okay. Nine.
He
No. And
carried them.
he carried him. He led the whole league in strikeouts.
Bro, he just won second all team MLB.
Okay, I got
So
that. And
obviously the voters are seeing something because he was just voted to the
he's
second,
and
meaning out of all left fielders, they ranked him as the second best left fielder in the entire MLB.
what was the whole debate this whole summer? What was the whole debate? He should not be your leadoff guy. He should
That's
be
not a
your,
debate. I agree with that.
you
You
know,
shouldn't be your leadoff guy. That doesn't have nothing to do with the fact that he carried this offense. That
Alec
second
Bohm did
that
it.
Bryce Harper's hand was broken, he carried them. And then when he started to cool down, JT came in and carried them in that month of September.
Hey, listen, Joe, I love you, buddy, but listen, I'm
Don't
gonna have
tell me JT didn't have a good year because he was first team. He was
I'm
first
not
team
trying
all
to say this,
MLB.
but the way you're on the Schwarber train here, you're misguided here because my man Al,
Who led the
Al
NL in
Alec,
home
but
runs?
okay, Alec Bohm was in at the top. It was at the 15th in hitting, leading in the league. This
Guess
guy
who
was
led the league? Not top 15, number one
yeah,
in
in
the
home
entire
runs,
MLB in home runs. And
and
listen,
no
this is
on the
20
NL. He was
NL.
not,
Okay,
because Aaron Judge was
NL.
ahead of him.
So he was second. Okay, second because Judge had a maybe all-time
Mm-hmm.
season. But here's the thing: we're in an MLB now in 2022 where they'd rather you strike out trying to hit a home run than put the ball in the play on the ground. This MLB has totally changed,
So
and you know this, Pat. This
yes,
MLB has totally changed, and it pisses me off because we no longer see small ball where if a guy's on second, put the ball in
Mhm.
play, get on the third. They'd rather you strike out with a guy on second trying to put the ball over the fence than to put the ball on the ground and get the guy to third. So
and
they prioritize home runs, and he
and
was second.
that's look. You brought this. Is it a Cinderella story unlike no other? Great, because they fired their head coach in order to play decent baseball. They had a fire and losing their MVP. We all know the story and who was going to be the next man up. They, as a team, they played really well. Okay, but for people to go down and start celebrating and having parties at Frankfurt Common like they won it, the whole king. You don't. And look, as long as I've been around, I never saw a party until you won the whole thing. Second place is just doesn't mean nothing. Being NL champion does. To me, you need to win the whole. Get to the Super Bowl won't mean nothing. Get into a Stanley Cup doesn't mean nothing. Maybe
I
I
have
should
a
have.
video. I have a
Uh,
video I'm watching
uh,
literally right now as we speak. I wish I could upload it.
uh,
Of
Paul. I mean, Paul.
2008
Go ahead.
NLCS win where everyone is at Frankfurt and Kottman celebrating. This was
And
2008.
if those people are out there, they're misguided because Paul. I mean, do you remember 2001 Sixers going having parties? 2001, or did they get stomped by the ultimate dynamic duo? I mean, did you celebrate or did you watch a team get dusted by a dynamic duo by Shaq and Kobe? I mean,
But the celebration happens
Mm.
before the dusting happens. You
you
celebrate getting to that point.
All I remember was AI hopping over Tyronn Lue, and as soon as that happened, I think everybody in the world walked down to Frankfurt and Kottman. Honestly, they were lifting their legs just like over Tyronn Lue that was on the ground. But let's move on to something real quick. This is why we have this show. It's great friends, great debate. I love seeing two Philadelphia Phillies fans go at it, and I can just sit here and eat my popcorn. But here we go. Let's get into this real quick, Joey. We talked about pretenders versus contenders in the NFL. Okay, real quick. I know a lot of people really can't see this, but let's look at this real quick. Okay, number one seed right now. Of course, you got those. You got those. Of course, those Philadelphia Eagles sitting at 11-1. Let's talk about them first. We'll talk about division leaders, and we'll talk about maybe a pretender or a contender in each division. Let's talk Eagles first. Where do they stand in your eyes? Of course, they're 11-1, number one seed in the NFL. What do you guys think?
for real.
Yeah,
Contender.
I think I agree with Pat. They're contenders, and here's the biggest reason why. As of right now, it's number one seed. In order for the playoffs to advance, it advances through Philly, and we know playoffs, limelight, home field advantage does matter. People can say it doesn't. We've seen it with the Phillies this year. We see it every year. We've seen it in the last Super Bowl run with the Eagles. The home field advantage in Philadelphia does matter, and that number one seed is going to be a huge factor when there's only one bye in the first round. The Eagles are banged up right now. If they can get that bye and get people healthy, with Quinn going out now, get him back for the playoffs healthy. You get Johnson back healthy to playoffs. Get Maddox back healthy for the playoffs. Goddard's going to be back next week. That bye, resting everyone, is the reason why they, to me, are the favorites in the NFC. Is because the playoffs have to come through Philadelphia.
Well, to me, this is for me for the Birds. You're for real. One, because your quarterback play has stepped up tremendously. No one ever thought that. Number two, you are what your record says you are. You're that good. Whether you could play this, you could blame the schedule game all you want, however you want to cookie cut it. Listen,
That's a tired excuse, Pat, isn't it?
it's a sorry, lame excuse. Listen, people don't want to hear this. People don't want. Let's see it. And the NFC East is your NFC beast, okay? And I explained this to my broadcast partner, and I love him to death, but he's an idiot. He's my man, Mike. But when I told him, I said, when I look at the NFC, I said, the teams I worry about, I don't worry about the Niners. I don't worry about no one else. I said, that NFC East. I said, that's the issue right there. That's the Everest, and everyone from top to bottom is going to be your problem. But I'm the idiot for telling me I have to go get a dog apparently. So,
well, Pat, I agree with you I agreed with you as of Sunday at 5:00. Before that, though, I didn't agree with you.
Let me stop you real quick, Joey. Let me stop you real quick, both of you real quick. I agree, right up, just like Joey said, up until 5:00 when Mr. Irrelevant came in. With the Niners with Grillapo, I thought they could be game manager, the weapons on offense, solid defense. They're a contender, definitely are. But now they've dropped down to me as a pretender with Brock Hughes, honestly out there. Purdy, I'm sorry, Mr. Irrelevant, Mr. Purdy out there, but. To my point on the Eagles, is before we in the green room talking with Joey, I think they're definitely a contender. Number one, solid 11-1. Of course, the record stands. To me, Joey, I'll go on your point. Going to the link, that's something you don't want to do. I don't care if you're 1-15, and if you can knock Dallas out that last game, you're going to do it at home. That home field advantage to me is probably. I know everybody talks to Kansas City. The Chiefs out there at Arrowhead. You got the 12th man in Seattle. I don't give a damn. I've been to the link. I've been to the vet. And that's one place you don't want to go with home field advantage to play. And the other thing is I love the Eagles. I hate saying this. I'm very real about what I say. I love watching the Eagles because they're a two-headed team. They can grind out a game by the running game. They can show you that. They can air it out with Hurts and, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. They can do what they want to do. They're solid on both sides of the ball. And my question is, when does Johnson get back? When does he come back?
So he'll be back, unfortunately, the game after the Cowboys.
Well, that's a great thing. That's a great thing. He's a
Yeah.
little
But I
scared.
mean,
He's a little scared of CD. He's scared of CD. Let's admit it.
Blankenship. I mean, didn't he have a pick? 2 picks?
Yeah. Well, wait, I'm going to talk like a Cowboys fan. Who was throwing the ball? Who was throwing the ball?
Listen, and here's, I know it wasn't you, Paul, because you were straight up with it all along.
What?
But the weeks before that, we have Jerry Jones talking about there might be a quarterback competition.
Okay, Joey, stop. That's Jerry Jones, the complete idiot. Okay, the complete idiot.
He's the one who runs the team.
I don't care who he is, okay? I'm going down there to beat his ass myself if he screws this up for the rest of the season, okay? Number one.
He's just
I don't care what Jerry says.
Facebook, he's just joking. He's just joking.
Yeah, so look, I mean,
we're not going to get flagged.
Going back to the Eagles, though.
Oh, thank you, Joey. Thank you, Joey. Thank you. Thank you for keeping me. Thanks for keeping me right, Joey.
You look like both of you gentlemen are saying. Well, look at this Eagles team. They could beat you on both sides of the ball. That defense, that front four is nasty. You want to try to run that ball with Jordan Davis sitting right there? Yeah, good luck. You know how that works. And then they can beat you, make you one dimensional, and make you throw the ball. Where they're looking at that next man up mentality, where they're trying to pick you up in the red zone. It doesn't take long for the secondary to find out who you are, and I got to credit the coaching staff. I can't believe I'm saying this. I thought last year, I was begging Jonathan Gannon, to get fired so I could drive him to the airport. This dude, both guys.
Not fired, get hired, Pat. You're begging a team to hire him.
Yes,
you're begging a team to take him as your head coach.
Yeah.
Okay, real quick, let's go to their schedule real quick. Okay, this week, of course, you have the Giants. Okay, I'll just go, since we're talking contenders here, we won't go through every division. We'll just talk a little bit here. Okay, let's go over it real quick through the schedule. Giants, win or loss?
I think that's a win for the simple fact of the way that game ended for the Giants last week. I think that was deflating.
Okay.
So I think that's a win, and Eagles came off a huge win. I think that's a win for the Eagles there.
What do you got, Pat?
Grind it out, win.
Okay, let's go 12-1. Let's go Bears.
That's a win.
Dub.
Okay, 13-1. Christmas Eve.
I'm gonna say loss. Because they say you split it with the Cowboys.
Okay.
I'll say L. I'll say you take the L on Christmas Eve.
Okay, 13-2. Okay, Saints. This is a game you definitely want to win because you want that draft pick. Am I right?
That's a win.
Little added bonus, right?
Depending what happens with the Cowboys, it's too early. That's a win.
Okay, Pat.
Dub. Yeah, I got a dub.
Okay, 14-2. Last game of the season. Those Giants. You might have the division wrapped up depending on what happens with the boys. What do you do?
I think this is a loss because they benched their starters because I think the conference and I think the whole entire NFC is locked up already. Shockingly, I see the Vikings dropping this week to the Lions. The Lions have been on fire.
I agree. I think that's going to be
the Vikings keep eking out these wins. They keep last second, or they keep finding that way to win at the end. And I think eventually, you're not saying luck, but eventually that magic wears out. And I think this is the week where that happens. And I think it puts the Eagles, at that point it'll be 3 games, right? Because we're already
you'll be 14-3, and then if you lose that Cowboys game, you lose that last week, 14-3. But it really depends of the Cowboys schedule, and which we'll get into next.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, so
14-2.
You can't, Joey. 14-2. That's 16. We got 17 games.
And then, obviously the Cowboys don't lose again. You're not benching your starters.
Right, of course, right.
But it's really hard. I mean, you've seen it with the Eagles.
Right, it's going to come down to that Christmas Eve game. It's going to tell you. It's going to be the tell right there. But how you play the rest of your season, honestly.
I'm circling that September. Is that 18th?
December 18th.
I'm circling that game right there.
Really?
And here's why. I think the Jaguars, and especially Trevor Lawrence, people still tell me he sucks. I don't think people have watched him for the past 2 months. He's turned a corner. And here's another thing. And I think it happened to the Eagles too. Who do we play right before you guys?
You guys play the Bears.
The Bears. So the Bears are a little worse than the Jaguars, but I could see both situations where the teams look ahead. It's a huge game.
Yeah, I agree with you, Joey. Looking at our schedule here, of course, we have the Texans. They're playing for nothing. The Jaguars are playing for nothing. To me, these are both winnable games on paper. We should definitely win these games. But the thing is, to me, just like you said, don't look forward. Yeah. Every week is one game. And the Jaguars game really scares me. It's not, I don't want to say trap game. that word I don't apply here. I think an overlooked game is what I want
Yeah.
to call this. I mean, the only way I can see this, what I really want to foresee and it happens, I want to see the Cowboys get up big, in the first half, pull the starters in the second half, relax them, because Christmas Eve is going to be an all-out ground pound war.
Let me ask you about that, Paul. Let me ask you about that because did it tick you off a little bit with how long McCarthy left the starters in last week? Like,
Okay, Joey, to me, Joey. Let's go back a week before that. Okay, the Vikings game. I was pissed off in the third and fourth quarter. The fourth quarter, especially when you're still seeing Dak out there, Zeke,
yeah,
Pollard, Lamb. I was like, wait a minute. What are we doing? What are we doing? Rest these guys. They're injury prone. Rest them.
you hate
Why
to see
have them
injury,
in?
but at some point you're like, well, it's your own fault at this point. It's your
Right,
own.
exactly. And then last week, okay, you look, man, 33 points in the fourth quarter, brother. Look, you don't need. Yeah, of course, it's great to see, but why is my man Cooper Rush coming in with 2 minutes to go in the game?
Yeah,
Why? Why?
Why
What
bother?
happens? What happens? If Dak comes out of the pocket and he falls over Tyler Smith's leg or something,
these are
snaps
grown
it.
men, Paul. These are grown men who have
Right,
pride, and
right.
I always fear being up that big and almost running up to score. I
Hmm.
fear a cheap shot. Because these are
Yeah.
still grown men who have pride, who worked their ass off to get to this point, and for you to drop 33 on their head in a
Hmm.
quarter, pride kicks in at some point, and you're like, well, F you, and you take them out.
Especially with the backups in. When Davis came in, he scored. Malik Davis came in and ran that one in there. You
Yeah,
always hear the coin, chippy play, chippy
yeah,
play. Joey, we go back to coaching, with you guys. How many times did we lose? And you're like, I want to rip that kid's head off or something like that. I want to take his legs out. I've said it many a times, Joey, where Joey crab crawl him.
yeah,
Take his legs off of him. You know what I mean? We've said
yeah,
that, and it gets bad when you lose. You take it to that level, which you shouldn't. It really happens. It really
yeah.
does. But let's talk
And
about the schedule here. Go
one
ahead.
other thing I have to ask you about, Paul. Tell me what you think about this. What about shooting your load? Like,
Whoa,
like
whoa, 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 whoa. Wait, time out. Hold on, man. Wait a
I
minute.
walked right into that, but
You sure did.
seriously.
Hey, Pat, real quick, Pat. This is your segment, real quick. What do you want? What condiment do you want to bring out for that one, real
But
quick?
no, but seriously, like dropping 33 and a quarter, like at some point it's like you empty the, you know what I'm saying? Like at some point it's like I don't know. I just feel like when you go all out like that, like sometimes like next game you come out flat a little bit. Like okay, we dropped 33, we're living like
Yeah.
on the high side,
You
and
know,
like
your
you
expectations,
emptied the
like, yeah.
clip at that point. It's
First of
like
all, if I can intervene, I've told this like again, and I love him to death, but I gotta go back to my idiot broadcast partner. I can call him idiot because we call each other idiot every Sunday morning. Is my man Mike, because when I look at the schedule here, and I'm the one who called it. This was not. I said this was this. You look at this schedule, then the Eagles. It's really a cupcake, and maybe Washington right now because the way they're playing football. I said it's really not that hard of a schedule. He was saying that the Cowboys playing Colts was going to be a hard time for the boys, and I said,
well, it
dude,
was.
that's
It
no,
was in
and
the
I
first half. It was
that's
definitely
in
in
the
the
Until
first
first
Matt
half.
half.
Ryan just forgot how to throw football.
Hmm.
Yeah, and I said, but I had like, you ever have that thing, that gut feeling you have no worries, like you have no worries you're going to be wrong. Like I had no worries. The Cowboys, what prime time football was making it out to be. Mr. Saturday was trying to make something of this, and he was looking good at first. I said the Cowboys are going to steamroll this team. Give it time. Give it
Pat,
time.
I have to say, honestly, I'm a Cowboy fan. You guys know that. But when the Cowboys play, I don't feel that way. Anything's not a steamroll with this team.
Yeah, and
Honestly.
Nothing to see
yeah.
wrong in the NFL though. I mean, these are all grown men, like I said, with
Right, right.
pride who
Hmm.
who like I said, any given Sunday, it's just like sometimes teams fall off the tracks. Maybe the plane got
Hmm.
stuck. Little stupid stuff like that can really when these guys are in a regimen. They do the same thing week after week. One little
Hmm.
thing can throw them off, and
Oh, sure, sure.
we don't know what's happening, but behind the scenes it's going on, and it could throw off the whole game plan. So I just think any week, like the Texans, I think obviously is a win. The Jaguars is a win, but
Hmm.
I think it's not like
The
oh
the 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 only games I see, because you got to see where Tennessee's going to be at mentally. I mean, they're going to want to play for, I guess, some pride, or to see if they can move up high. I don't know if they're going at that point. I don't know if they can move any higher in the playoff rank. Washington, I
they
know.
already have the division locked up, right?
They already have division. I'm looking at that.
No,
They
I
have
mean,
it.
as far as seeding, I don't know if they can. As far as the AFC, But you look at the Washington Commanders. They're playing hungry football right now. They're pretty sure they want to move up from being a seventh seed. And
Well,
the
they're
way
out right
Jalen,
now.
no,
The
they're sitting
Seahawks
out.
jumped back in.
See again and the way they're playing football, they're going to be playing hungry. So it's going to be a very interesting. Like I said, those
Right.
last couple of
Well, the,
games.
the Titans are 7-5. They have basically a 4-game lead because they already
That's
beat the
right.
Colts head to head. So that's a 3.5-game lead right now on the division. Their only downfall that they can move up. You're not going to catch the Bills. You're not going to catch the Chiefs. For
Okay.
the division lead, they're going to be a division leader. So right now they're ending up in 4th spot. The Titans. Their only positive feed it would be Lamar Jackson being out 1 to 3 weeks. They're 1 game behind them to move up to 3. So the next 3 games, the next 4 games, they definitely want to play hard. Not that you're not going to play hard any game, but this could be an overstepping of the Ravens to
Yeah,
oversee the
and,
first spot.
and to me, if you're not really competing for that one seed, what are you competing? Because that's the only bye you're
Well, I
going
mean,
to
you're
get. So
competing for if the
Or
one
home
seed
home field.
home team,
Field.
home field.
Mhm.
if the one seed falls the second week of the playoffs, you're competing with
Right,
which
you're
you
better,
might have a
you're better
chance
feet
to
up.
compete to host the
Sure.
AFC Championship game if
Hmm.
that one seed drops out, which you
Exactly.
see happen because that sometimes that bye is good for a team, but also sometimes that bye hurts them. And if you're
Hmm.
playing hot football and you have that week off, it hurts you. So
Exactly.
it's good and
Exactly.
bad. So we'll see, but I just think again we're saying it on paper it looks easy, but again it's the NFL.
Hmm.
Any
So,
anything can happen.
going on the Cowboys schedule, we got the Texans as a win, correct?
Yeah,
Correct.
Okay. What about the Jags?
I'm gonna say a close win.
Okay.
Close
What
one,
about
but
the Eagles? I'm going to say the Eagles here, definitely. But Pat, what you said, Jaguars or where and a win?
now I got Cowboys winning 3 so far.
Okay. And Eagles, Cowboys, Christmas Eve.
I say win.
Yeah, I say win for the boys.
I think so too. I think it's going to be a split. I mean, you disregard records at all. This is the way they play. Titans here.
No, Cowboys.
Okay. Joey?
I'm on the fence here because if Lamar's out for extended period of time, like you said,
That's exactly. Hmm.
that game could mean something. And if the Titans, I'm gonna go out here and say lost, just because I think the Titans, if Henry can find his legs again, because I don't know what's happened in the past 4
I
weeks,
know. 5 points last week.
but if he can find his legs again and control the clock, I mean,
Mhm.
you've seen it with the Eagles, these high-powered offenses.
Yeah,
If you can control the clock, keep them off the field, it's a win.
I agree.
You have to. I mean, at this point, it'll be what 6 in a row, 7 in a row.
Yeah.
And not to
That's
go
hard.
back on, yeah, but not to go back on. That's what I like about this Eagles thing. They work on your strengths. You know what I mean? Like we all know that the Tennessee's strength is that running game. They shut it down. Like I said, 5 fantasy points. I mean, if you're a fantasy owner, you threw him in there, you're highly disappointed.
Yeah, you
Which
were
I
looking at
did. Which I
your
did.
chops, Pat,
Mhm.
leading up to that week, like licking your chops, thinking, okay,
Sure.
Henry's going off, and you were hoping if you were the Titans fan, hoping, okay, we know Henry's going to go off. Hopefully Tannehill can
Hmm.
do enough to bridge the gap the rest of the way because the Eagles
Right.
are going to score against that secondary, which
Hmm.
like getting off topic here, but like what were they playing? At some points they were stacking the box, playing man to man across the field with the Eagles receivers and saying Jalen beat us, and he was doing exactly that. Like how dumb
Yeah.
of a coaching thing. Like I thought Vrabel
And
was a little bit
listen,
of smarter mind.
and look at it now. The GM got fired off of this. Got
You're
fired.
fired.
Well, you knew that was going to happen after that game. You knew
I
that
mean,
was scapegoat city right there. Okay, well, now's your chance. See ya.
I mean, you're the one who told your families we don't need AJ Brown, and they use AJ Brown to beat the brakes off you.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And it costs you your
Well,
GM job.
let's get into the last game here. Okay, it's the Washington game. Now, listen. Here's the deal. If the Cowboys run the table here and they beat the Eagles, well, that game differential goes a different way. If the Eagles lose a game prior to that or the last week, we're talking a different ball game here. 14-3, 14-3. What do you guys see with the last week with the Cowboys? I don't like this is the game I don't like, honestly. It's something about a last week of the season when the Cowboys backs. Now, I don't want to say back against the wall. You're definitely in the playoffs. We know that. But to me, as a Cowboys fan, I've seen this far and too many times where something means something to move up for positioning or division title, whatever way you want to look at it, and it just doesn't happen the Cowboys' way. That's just me. I see
I'm
a
gonna,
loss the last week of the season. I really do.
so I'm gonna go.
I,
I'm
I
gonna go. I'll go. You go, Pat. Yeah, go.
no, I got Washington win here. I mean, if this is a meaningful game between the two teams, and it's in DC, and the way Ron Rivera is finally, and he's been calling for it, finally got some decent quarterback play. That could be scary. That this could be an actual head coach that Mike McCarthy may have a real serious problem with. Other than the Nick Siriannis of the world. Because, like I said, this is, and look at it, Paul. You just said you're coming on back. That's back to back road games right there. You're going from Tennessee to Washington. And it's like I said, it's going to be nasty. So, I definitely see this could be a Washington win.
Joey?
Here, I think Cowboys lose this, and the reason I think that is because again that Titans game is up in the air. Cowboys easily could win that game. But
Mhm.
even if the Titans win that game, we give the Cowboys that Eagles game. The Eagles will be sitting there at 10-2. Cowboys, I mean whatever, not 10-2, but you know what I mean. 2 losses. Cowboys with 3 losses.
Right.
I don't think. I mean at that point, 3 losses obviously puts you at number 1 in the wild card standing. No team behind you
Mhm.
is jumping you. At that
Sure.
point, I don't think the Cowboys have anything to play for at that point, unless maybe they're thinking down the road and they're like thinking Seahawks or Commanders in terms of who they'd least run a face in the
Yeah,
playoff.
at that point right there,
Um,
you're looking at a matchup standpoint. Who would you rather play?
I mean
Let me
but that's talking about NFC. At that point, you would only play them in the NFC Championship game because
Mhm.
2 wildcard teams aren't playing each other second round, so you only play each other third round. Um, I would hope that McCarthy would bench the starters at that point with
Mhm.
the top wild card seed locked up. There's nothing to play for. So I'm gonna say it's
Right.
a loss just because of that fact.
Okay. So pretty much we have the Eagles and the Cowboys dominant 1 and 2, right? Even though it can't stand at 1 and 2, the best it could be is either way it flip flops. It's 1 and 5. We know that
Yeah.
in the division, it's 1 and 5. NFC conference winner and your first wild card winner. So it's 1 and 5 no matter what happens. The best we could see it. But we do agree. Put the Vikings aside. Put the other teams aside as well. The damn Bucks. Like come on, put them
They
aside as
do
well.
they do scare me a little bit just for the simple fact that it's Tom Brady in the playoffs.
I don't know. Their weapons aren't there. I mean, you can't score 20 points. But yeah, I understand the goats out there. Anything can happen. But you got to show me a little bit something first. Going into
I
the
don't.
game.
I'm sorry, but I don't believe in the goat. The goat's not the goat to me anymore. That's not the same Tom Brady that I've seen it,
Did
and
you
he's
watch
seen
last
himself.
night?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen all last
Yeah,
night,
I
but
turned it off. I'm up 16-3. Next thing I know, I get a notification that I lost 17-16. I'm like, what the hell happened in 5 minutes?
yeah.
But
So
Every
we
now
do
and then
agree.
he
We do
finds a way
agree.
to turn back the hands of time.
Sure. I mean, I've seen that. But we do agree Cowboys, Eagles 1 and 2, correct?
At this
correct.
point, yes, because of what happened last week, yes.
Okay. All right. Well, you know what? Let's flip it. We're not going to talk about every team here. How about we go to the AFC real quick?
How about we do the team instead of AFC, the team that we think is the only other team that could really jump in there, which is the Vikings. Let's do them.
Okay, I'll go first then. Okay.
Okay.
My I don't want to say pretender, but I want to put them in a category where they're a little scary to me. They're under the radar to me. And that team, believe it or not, is going to be, oops, excuse me. That team to me is actually going to be the Seattle Seahawks.
Really?
Yeah. Listen, Geno Smith's playing ball right now, man. He has nothing to lose. This cat was out the door. They gave him a shot. He's finding ways to win with this okay defense, but he has weapons, man, and anything can happen. I mean, they're going to get a home game, Joey. You know what I mean?
No,
They're going to pass. They're going to pass the 49ers, Joey.
you think they are?
Yeah, well, Joey, I mean, you look at it. I mean, do you believe in Purdy? Do you really believe in him?
I don't know if you have to believe in him. I just think with the weapons you have,
I don't know. I mean, it's
Deke
you do
could
have
Deke
you
could
do have
dump when you game with them with
sure. I
Devo and
mean, yeah, you have
Caffrey,
Debo, you have CMC, you have Kittle. You have the
Ayuk.
weapons. You have Ayuk. Yes, you definitely have those. But to me, can he manage the game? It's all they're asking him to do. But I just don't see it because Seattle Seahawks are playing some ball right now,
Well,
and
they're
I
a
think
scary team if they get a home playoff game.
that's what I mean. That's why I think they're going to play for that. They're only one game behind, Joey. You know.
I mean, as an Eagles fan, and obviously you, Paul, as a Cowboys fan, that would be
That's a game I don't want to go
Maine.
to. I don't want to go to Seattle for me. If I'm the Cowboys at 5, and that's because the 4 and 5 play each other. You know what I mean? That first matchup, Joey. You know,
Yeah,
I don't want to
I'd
see that.
rather
You know?
San Fran sit at 3 because
Yeah.
you're guaranteed if the Eagles finish at 1 and San Fran at 3,
Hmm.
at worst you would see them in the NFC Championship game.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you look at it. I mean, the NFC East, I think the Giants are fading. I think the Commanders will overtake them for that 3 spot to make
Hmm.
the playoffs. But what do you guys see in there? I mean, you got the Niners leading the division with Seahawks 1 game behind. You got the Vikings 10-2 has already wrapped up that division 10-2 versus 5-7. Nobody's coming out of that. And you got the
No,
Bucks sitting at 6-6 with the Falcons on their tail at 5-8. I'm not worried about anybody in that division.
No, but
no.
did you see that the Vikings are actually underdogs this week?
Yes, yes to the Lions. Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
I'm with you guys. I'm not buying anyone in the MC South. I could
Hmm.
care less. The MC North, the Vikings, I think, are going to be in and out. I'm still not a believer in Kirk
Hmm.
Cousins. Kirk Cousins is still 1-2 against the MC East. Um, so if they run into the Cowboys, the Birds, the Washington, they just barely beat Washington. So that could be a handful of trouble. If you look at the NFC North, Paul, I mean NFC West, Paul, I totally agree with you. I think Seattle is very, very under the radar. They're going to catch a lot of people off guard. Like you guys were saying earlier on the fantasy football show, it's the Pete Carroll system that catches a lot of people off guard. So. Yeah, I want to go with Seattle. I don't, Niners losing Jimmy G is going to hurt them. So,
Hmm. I think it's a huge blow. I mean, if Purdy can manage the game, I'll give you credit. But listen, man, they're going to game plan around you. They're going to put pressure on you in different schemes that Purdy hasn't seen. That's just
mhm.
what I think. If he beat you, hey, he beat you. Not a big deal. But what do you got, Joey? What do you think on that? We'll go
Um.
NFC. We'll go NFC tonight. We'll definitely talk about that tonight.
Yeah. I still, outside of the Cowboys, the 49ers still scare me the most, regardless of who's quarterbacking. Just for the
Okay.
simple fact that, um,
Weapons.
the weapons exactly. Like, I feel like Nick Foles obviously is a better quarterback than Purdy, whatever his friggin' name is. But I also think the 49ers have way better weapons than the Eagles had in that year. I mean, Debo Samuels might be the best playmaker in the NFL with the ball in
True.
his hand. The things that he can do in the open field, he
Hmm.
becomes like a battering ram when he gets that ball. I mean, obviously he has injury concerns because of the style he plays, but if their playmakers stay healthy, regardless of who's quarterback, they're still scary. And then the report came out today that Garoppolo doesn't need surgery. He'll be back in 7 weeks.
Okay, 7 weeks is going to take you. You're in
Yeah,
what? It's going to be. Let's see, nine
you're
and,
not
and
playing the playoffs.
He'll be back
you
in
might
7 weeks.
if we're Super Bowl. That's basically going to be it. Honestly, if you
Round
really
two,
think about
right?
projected time. Well, okay. Well, think about it. I mean, you're looking at right now. You're sitting at 8-4. You're in week 13. You got 4 weeks left. That's going to be 4. Then you automatically have a bye week between. You're not going to have a bye week. So that's going to be 1, 2, 3. No, Joey, you're looking at Super Bowl.
Really?
Yeah, you're looking at Super Bowl because you're 8-4 now. You got 4. That's 5 games left. That's 5 weeks, and you have 2 playoff games to get there. Yeah, and then you're going to have the 2 week layover if you
Yeah, I
get
mean,
to
the
the
second
Super Bowl.
round of the playoffs. So if he's back on the 7th week, got hurt last week.
Oh,
The
okay.
Buccaneers,
Seventh week. Seventh week. Okay, but I'm not okay.
the
7th week. Yeah,
Buccaneers,
yeah.
Seahawks, Commanders,
You're
Raiders,
you're looking at conference.
Cardinals.
If he makes it that far, you're looking at conference championship.
No, second round because they wouldn't have a bye. So he'd
Second
be back
round.
on the 7th week. So he'd be divisional round.
Okay,
They
well
have to
that's.
win
I
one.
mean,
They have to win one playoff game without him.
okay, okay. You're right, but you're looking at if they hold serve, you're looking at playing. Let's see. There'll be the third seed, number 3, right? Yeah, there'll be the third seed. Which would be the Eagles,
Hmm.
Cowboys, or Vikings
So
number 2.
they'll play the
Niners would be 3, which would
they'll
be the
play the
sixth seed.
Giants.
Would be the sixth seed. Which no, yeah, exactly. Right now would be the Giants, sixth
And I
seed.
think even with Purdy, they beat the Giants easily.
I think so too. I think he can manage the game and actually win the game, but it's going to be coming down to that play calling.
Because the
Dinks or
Giants
dunks.
aren't going to be able to put up enough points against that defense. Because regardless of who's
True,
quarterback,
true.
that defense, I think, before they played the Dolphins, who's one of the more prolific offenses in the NFL,
Hmm.
like a touchdown a game that they were running an average thereof. Which,
I agree.
regardless of who your quarterback is, if you can only allow 13 points a game,
Hmm.
and you have Debo Samuels and Christian McCaffrey, they'll make up the 14 points right
You,
there.
you know what? I agree with you, Pat. I know you don't watch a lot of college football, but Purdy at Iowa State, he was more of a spread offense guy who can run an RPO. That little RPO game. Didn't run the ball a lot, but I think Shanahan's the type coach we've all seen. He leads the league in motion. There's always some kind of motion in that backfield with McCaffrey, Debo, Ayuk. Anyone in the backfield can move, and I think that's what they go to. You put Debo and CMC in the game. They're always in the game same time, basically, but you got to put that motion guy out there to confuse them and make the game simple for Mr. Irrelevant. Make it simple.
I mean, let's not forget last year, Garoppolo was doing everything in his power to lose the game. Like, let's not forget, he looked like absolute shit in the playoffs.
He tried giving games away, yeah.
Debo did everything in his power, literally carried that team on his back those couple of weeks. I mean, that Cowboys game, he carried the 49ers to a win. Like, he literally was the entire team. So you just can't forget about that. I think the best playmaker in all of football is Debo Samuels. He's not a one-trick pony. Like, Tyreek Hill's good, but he's more of a just kind of burner type of dude. Whereas Debo, you can hand the ball off to him, and he's going to run through you.
Yeah, what he reminds me of? I mean, he's at his weight, he's like an Allen Iverson to me, pound for pound, best of the business right now. What he does in between the tackles, outside the box, speaking of, that, but he does everything out there. To me, he reminds me, even though he's better than him,
a bulldog,
like a Cordell Patterson at that size. Cordell Patterson, nobody thought he would be playing running back at his size. That's to me, like, I give the advantage there, but it's all going to come down to that one name, Purdy. That's all I'm going to say.
So he's the major
on the Cowboy show, me and Matt had this thing, prove me wrong. Well, they're proving me wrong right now, but to me, I'm going to use that for Brock Purdy. Prove me wrong and make me a believer in what you want.
Let's not make any mistakes about it here. The Dolphins have some serious playmakers on that defense, and he was able to manage that second half, not make any mistakes, and help them get that W. Now, mind you, the defense came alive, and the Dolphins were missing both tackles last week.
Right.
But at the same time, he still didn't make mistakes against arguably, a top echelon defense with Chubb coming off the edge there and stuff. So he's still. I just think they have too much weapons. Like, I just think they're too good.
I agree. I mean, I have it coming down to two teams, Eagles, Cowboys. I'm still not even how it's going to pan out, 1 versus 4 or 1 versus 5. Sorry, but it's all going to come down to the last 3 weeks of the season. What the Eagles do the Cowboys just let them take their foot off the pedal because they know they're not getting division? Do the Eagles wrap it up and take their foot off the pedal? We don't know yet. It's going to come down to weeks 15, 16 is where it's going to come down to.
Yeah, I agree with you, Paul. Especially if Vikings lose this week to the Lions, the entire NFC comes down to the Eagles, Cowboys.
Sure, it's going to come down to a 1 versus 5, and that means a lot.
They both hold a victory over the Vikings. So
right, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
That's what Vikings are eliminated for the number.
And Bobby, that's what's going to come down to. I mean, that 1 versus 5, that goes a long way. You have a bye, and you're hosting all through the playoffs. Well, 5, guess what? You're on the road for the playoffs, unless there's a huge disappointment. 2 to 4. You don't know.
Yeah. So I really wish that this game was the last game of the season because like,
I do too.
It's like taking a step forward and back. Like, this is a playoff game, and then you got 2 more games still after the regular season before the playoffs even start. It's just.
Well, you know what, Joey? I am kind of happy because this division is the NFC beast this year. It is no cupcake game. You guys play the Giants or whatever. Who you guys played last week? I'm sorry. Who was the last week you guys had?
Giants.
Okay,
all the divisions play each other. Well,
I like that.
I wish it was flip flop.
Yeah.
I like that. I mean, I like it because the fact that at least we are playing a meaningful game because the Giants are still fighting for their lives. The Commanders are still fighting for their lives, and we already know what we're doing. But yes, I would love to see the Eagles Cowboys last game of the season. That would mean the world to me. Prime time, Sunday night, all the marbles on the table. My girl Carrie Underwood coming out there, singing her crap. But like, you really think about it, but at least you got a division game that this division actually means something. And it could mean a lot to the Commanders. It could mean a lot to the Giants. Think about it. What if they come out, if whoever wins that game, if they beat us, the Commanders beat us, or the Giants beat you, that game is going a long way because you remember one thing happened last week. What was it? A tie.
Yeah.
That's going to go a long way, that tie. Think about it.
Let me ask you guys one more thing. Yeah. Go ahead, Pat. You guys go, and then I'll ask you a question.
My thing is, I'm listening to you guys chatter. Here's my thing. What I'm really, I look at this, this matchup for Christmas Eve. this is what when your teams are playing really good. This is what makes the rivalries better. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? If one team think no one cares, right? But however, like to me, with both teams playing well, like I'm jonesing for the matchup. But just think about it. If you lose on Christmas Eve, your Christmas is ruined. I don't care. I'm sorry, but you want to sit there and enjoy your family. You're just gonna be pissed that on Christmas Day, on that Sunday, just you're gonna be, yeah, okay, okay, Clark, nice.
You're
Now
100% right. You're 100% right.
here's I'm gonna play catch 22, Pat. Um, if the Vikings lose this weekend, you can still enjoy Christmas.
You
I
can.
can, yes,
Yeah,
I can, but
because even if the Cowboys were to lose, even if the Eagles were to lose to the Cowboys,
yeah, but
as long as they don't drop another game along the season, they're
Mhm.
comfortably number one seed still.
true.
I think you guys got the easiest road. You have the tiebreaker over us. You have the tiebreaker over the Vikings. Okay, so that half game lead right there goes a long way. Even if the Vikings win out, you still have the overriding factor on them. Even if we win, the only thing helps us is we play you. We play you. So that tiebreaker goes a long way, of course.
They may
But
have to drop something somewhere else though.
what's that? Oh, yeah,
They might have
exactly.
to
Right.
drop
Right.
another game somewhere else.
Sure.
Hmm.
But I'm just looking at us riding the table. I'm going to even jump week 16 and go right into week 17, that Commanders game for us, Giants game for you. I'm going to go right to that game because the deciding factor is going to be Christmas Eve. We know that. Who's going to lose the game first? If we continue to win, you better keep the pedal on the metal all the way through. And us, we have to
You
keep the
see with the
pedal down.
Eagles, they took their foot the pedal in the second half, and then
Exactly. Right.
allowed the Cowboy right back in the game. But
And
one question I have for you guys before we end the show tonight
mhm,
is in the NFC, is there any teams outside of Washington? Because we know they obviously one win this weekend will put them right back in the playoffs.
mhm.
Any teams in the um, outside looking in that scare you or like, wow, if they get in, they might be a hard out? Is there any teams that currently sit there that,
In the NFC,
yeah, I think the Lions. I think the way they've looked as
uh,
of late,
I don't know, Joey. I don't know about the Lions though.
the way they
Honestly.
play football, they're a fun young team who, if make the playoffs, are playing with house money. At that point, teams like that sometimes can just get hot and be a little scary.
Let's bring that up real quick. Let's bring that up real quick and let's look at it.
Can we see the Vikings schedule? I mean, the Lions schedule.
Sure.
So they're currently 2 games back
All right.
of.
Well, here you got. Okay.
Well,
Okay.
are they
Your
2 games
favorites.
back, Paul? So they're 5-7.
Hold on. Hold on. Let me look. Right now, they're Joey. No, Joey. Joey. Wait a minute. From the last playoff spot, they are 2 games. Now, did the Lions play the Commanders yet or no?
I want to say, yes.
Yes, they did. They actually hold the tiebreaker against the Commanders. They beat the Commanders 36-27 in week 5 or week one,
2.
2, 3, week 2. Yep, you're right. Right after the Eagles game.
Hmm.
Yes. That's a good point, Joey. I mean, you're basically 1.5 games back right now.
They lost 3. They lost by 3 points to Buffalo
Hmm.
on Thanksgiving Day. Before that, they were on a 3-game winning streak, and they absolutely dismantled the Jaguars last week.
That's a team. Now that you say that, I mean, let's go through their schedule real quick. Okay, your favorites against the Vikings, which is kind of telling me that hey, we believe in you, number one. Okay,
Yeah, and
let's
they
just
got
say
the Jets.
let's say they went out. It's now look at their schedule. Their schedule is very winnable. Out
Yeah,
Lions, Jets, Panthers, Bears, Packers have nothing to play for anymore. They don't care.
no,
So you think about it. That's 5 games. Let's go back to their record now. 5 games puts
ten
them
and
at
seven.
10-7. Well, you know what? That makes the Commanders and the Giants have to win 3 games.
Yeah,
That's a good point. That's a good point. What do you? I would
and
probably have to go with
five
you
of
too.
those. And here's another thing, Paul, is if the division comes down to the last game of the season, 2 of the Giants' last 5 games are against the Eagles.
True.
So they
True.
have to be perfect the rest of the way.
True. I'm going to take back my pick because I really didn't even look at the schedule for the Lions. Honestly, Joe, I really didn't even look at that. I'm just thinking, the way the Seattle Seahawks are playing now. But based on strength of schedule, their last 5 games, I would. Okay, I'm not gonna say yes or no right now until Sunday's game versus the Vikings. If they can hold serve in that game and find out how to come out with a win, you know what? I'll put on my Lions hat and say, Joey, you're right about that, 100%.
And I think the NFL needs that. The Lions are one of the better like in terms of fan base wise,
Mm-hmm.
they have some of the better fans who are there.
And not just that, but I mean, Dan Campbell gives
Yeah,
you that, that coach you want to play for. He gives you
what
that,
makes you
like,
want to run through a brick wall.
How many coaches out there, if I came on the network and say, Pat, you know what? I'm going to bite off our competitors' legs. That's going to like hype you up a little bit. Like,
And
what
here's
coach
here's
does
the
that?
sad part,
yeah,
Paul. And here's the sad part, Pat. The Lions right now should be sitting at 6-6.
Should be.
right.
That absolute fumble that they had Thanksgiving
Yes.
Day.
Yes.
That
Ridiculous.
absolute just what the
Yeah.
hell were you thinking? You don't
Mm-hmm.
ever leave time on the clock. Why would you throw a deep ball on third down when you needed 2 yards for a first?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I thought Mike McCarthy was coaching for a second there. You know?
Yeah,
He's a
it's
great motivator, but I don't know if Dan Campbell is the coach to get you to the promised land. I think he's a good
well, I'll tell
offensive
you.
coordinator, maybe defensive coordinator, like the guy that can motivate his players. But I don't know if I
Well,
trust him in
But
crunch time to manage the clock.
Joey,
listen,
some coaches are head coaches, some are DCs and OCs. Look at Dan Quinn, brother. He's probably arguably one of the top 3, top 2 defensive coordinators. You give him his entire team. Like a lot of Cowboy fans, I take slack for it. They're like, oh, promote him. No, don't promote him. He's the best DC in the game. He's
He don't
meant
want
for
to be
that.
promoted.
Look at Josh McDaniels, man. One of the greatest OCs in history. He gets a head coach job. He's worse than Mike McCarthy at times, you know?
hey,
Same
it's
thing with
like you said,
Patricia.
Exactly, right.
it's all
Exactly.
about it's all about the
100%.
citizen. But back to Dan Campbell, he gives me that that blue collar father who works all day. You want to play, like you said, you want to play for him, but like you said, I don't know if he's good. Look, just for him to get his feet wet in the playoffs, it would be a story. But what is that? Time will tell with that guy. But yeah, man, like you said, you want to run through the wall with that guy. The way every game winning, man. He has that motivational speech. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
this guy's got this, he's got it. He's got the personality for it.
100%, 100%. But listen, guys, I know we're running crazy tonight, almost 2 hours here, but we just want to give you a little preview of what's going on. But two guys that I've known pretty much half my damn life. These kids, these guys are like knee high up until fathers and husbands, and I've known it. I can honestly say I have the privilege to see you guys grow up. Put it that way, number one, and it means the world to me. We have arguments, but
Yep.
it's there, man. You call me, I'm there. Joey, you know about me. We all know about each other. But Joey, real quick before we go out of here, man, it's cold up here in PA, brother. We all know that, right? So
Yeah,
where
for
can
sure.
where can I go, Joey? Where can I go, brother?
Yeah.
Where can I go, Joey? Where can I go, man?
Yeah, I mean anywhere. At this point, anywhere in that
Oh,
Disney has resorts, Disney World, Disneyland, Disney Hawaii.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Disney cruises at this point be better than being in Philadelphia. But anything Disney related, you looking to book a trip, reach out to me. I can get you a trip booked. Only need $200 down. That goes towards your trip. That 200 does not go towards me. It goes towards your Disney trip to help
Mm-hmm.
pay off your balance. The price you pay Disney is the price you paid. Nothing more to use me. So why not use my services to take the planning out of it? If
Yes.
you give me a call, if you need anything, text, Facebook, anything, I can help you set that up.
And Joey, we have that link on the page, correct?
I believe so. Yes.
Okay, so give Joey a call. I'm a true testament. He took my niece, Chelsea, got her down to Disney, and she had the time of her life, man. She from the time she got off the plane, everything was the agenda was there, all to my man Joey. So please reach out to him if you want any trips down to Disney. Hit him up. He doesn't charge anything. He doesn't make any pennies off you. He always charges, Mr. Walt Disney World down there for
Yeah,
his bill.
Mr. Mouse pays me.
Mr. Mickey Mouse pays everything for him. But listen, I just wanted to real quick before we show our sponsors real quick. I just want to say, guys, coming in June. I'm sorry, June. Why am I saying June? Holy crap!
Keep saying that second time.
I don't know. I think it's with my birthday. I'm turning 52. I'm definitely over the hill now, coming down. So I think that's what it is, old age. But coming in January, man, Joey and I will be having a show. We haven't come up with a name for it. If you're out there listening, please put on the box out there. What do you think our show should be called? We're going to have the debate show, me and Joey, every week. I don't have a time yet, but we're definitely doing that. Two friends talking about sports and whatever hell happens out there, we don't even know. It's going to happen. And also coming in January, for all you people on my Facebook page, you already see me and question me about this. It's going to be a show called Triple P. Paul and Pat's Patio Talk. I grew up with this kid. He used to sit on my doorstep, talk crap, talk sports,
Mhm.
enjoyed it, played video games, ate my house, my all the food out of my house, made me go broke. And now I'm on, I'm
Mhm.
now broke as hell eating a cup of noodles. But, that's what we're going to have. But stay tuned to Out of the Box Facebook page, Twitter page, YouTube page, and also what else did I miss? YouTube. Yeah, whatever it is. Stay tuned out there. But, this is a trash talking show that we're going to get into because, here at Out of the Box, we're family. Just like Joey right here, he is a diehard Cowboys fan and he knows it. He already knows it. I'm waiting for the shot right back to me. But, until then, I haven't seen it yet. So we'll leave it there. But real quick, we'll be back in 1 minute here. If you take time and look at our shows out here, we'll be back in 1 minute. Enjoy the video. We'll be right back to close the show. All right, there it is. Out of the Box Sports Programming Network. All of our sponsors. Thank you to our sponsors: Jay Feinlaw, 1-800-HURT-123, Kicking It with Carly, and of course, Castle Boxing, home of Trayshawn Wiggins, who will keep you updated. He will be fighting in January to move up from number 10 down in Miami, Florida. So we'll have that. We're going to have a live broadcast from him down there, hopefully, as he said. So listen, for myself, Paul Spencer, Pat from Ambler below me, and of course, Joey the Hitman Woods.
Yeah,
We are.
not to interrupt. Can I give a quick shout out?
Go right
Uh,
ahead.
Listen, if you guys listen, we know, like again, me and Paul just alluded to. Me and Paul go back, way before podcasts ever start. So, anytime we need to promote, we'll help each other promote. If you guys are up Sunday mornings, 9 a.m., come and check me out. I got Mike Missinelli going to join me and Mike Lara. So, it's going to be a fun time. 9:45 Sunday morning, Mike will be popping on to the podcast. So you guys know he's the face of Philadelphia sports. He's going to be hopping on with us.
Sounds good. And also, I know you guys played the Giants this week. Am I right or wrong?
Yes.
So all you Giants fans out there, check out the show Friday night at 8 p.m. That is Evan Laurel, one of the biggest Giants fans out there. So you know what? Tune into that show 8 p.m. Give him hell if you're an Eagles fan, because I certainly will, even though I'm a Cowboys fan. So hey, listen, for myself, Paul, Joey Woods, Pat, we're out of here, and we'll see you next week. Same time, same place. Have a great night.